Welcome everyone to our technical webinar on shipping and zones. It's great that you've joined us today. I'm Virginia Gordon and I'm the Alliance and Growth Manager for StoreConnect. And I'll be your host for today. One housekeeping point. If you have any questions, make sure to use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your Zoom webinar window. If you put it in the chat, we might miss it. So just addressing that Q&A feature at the bottom of Zoom will either answer your questions immediately or they'll be answered at a later stage during the presentation. We definitely love your questions, so ask away. We'll also provide attendees with a link to the presentation and it will also be on our YouTube channel. I'd now like to introduce Todd Wheatman. He's the Client Success Manager at StoreConnect. Many of you may know him, and Todd's going to take us through shipping and zones today. Welcome, Todd.
Thanks, Virginia. So today we're going to configure multiple shipping rates to offer customers different shipping rates and shipping options based on what or how much they are ordering. The first thing we'll cover though is shipping zones. Zones dictate the boundaries for each of our shipping rates. So a zone is a geographical region that a shipping rate applies to. You can have many shipping rates that each cover different or overlapping zones. So we're going to cover defining shipping zones, shipping rates for different cart price ranges, shipping rates for different weight ranges, additional charges per weight unit, different rates for different cart price and weight combinations, using different shipping rates to offer multiple shipping options, excluding shipping options for selected products, and we're also going to have a look at configuration. All right, so let's have a look at zones. So you can configure zones from the StoreConnect config app, and you'll see here that we already have a bunch of zones in our org: Australia, Europe, there's a US zone, a few others. So what we're going to do is we're going to create one for North America, which includes just Canada and one US state. So we're going to click New. And we're going to give our zone a name. So we're going to just call this North America Shipping. So shipping zone. Press save. Good. So we have a zone, it's got a name, but it hasn't got any boundaries. So we go to the related list, and here we can add countries, states, and postcodes to make up our boundary. So we're going to add Canada. We don't have Canada as a country in our database, so we're going to create also the country Canada. To do that, we're going to create a new country. We're going to call it Canada. And the ISO code for Canada is CAN. Press save. All right, so we've created Canada. We're now adding Canada to our zone. Press save. And if you have a look at our North America shipping zone, it now includes Canada. So we also want to include Michigan. Now, Michigan is not in Canada, it's in the USA. But because Michigan's so close to Canada, just down the road from Toronto, we're also going to ship to Michigan. So we're going to add a state. Press New. And we don't have Michigan in our database, so we're going to create a new state. Now, US does exist, because I saw it before. Let's see if we can find it. United States. Good. So we're just going to add Michigan. And the code is MI, which you can Google if you need. All right, so we've now created a state called Michigan, and we're going to add it to our zone. So press save. Good. So our zone now contains Canada and the state, US state of Michigan. And that's a zone. So we can configure shipping rates to use this zone, which means that anyone that's getting products shipped to Canada or Michigan will be allowed to use whatever zones use, whatever shipping rates use this zone. So like I mentioned before, you can have many zones, and you can have many shipping rates that use different zones. So you can be quite flexible in the way that you configure your shipping. Good. We now have the shipping zones, so we need to create shipping rates. How do we do that? So we have a store record in Salesforce, which I'm sure you guys are already familiar with. And one of the related lists that you will see in the store record is shipping rates, or store shipping rates. This is where we're going to create the shipping rates that I mentioned earlier. Well, one thing I want to mention before I do that is that shipping needs to be turned on for your store. You'll see further down here on the store details page, shipping enabled. It's a checkbox. And if that's not ticked, then when the customer goes through checkout, they won't be offered any shipping options. They can literally go through and complete the checkout and not pay for any shipping. We want to charge shipping, so we've enabled that, and now let's create shipping rates. So click on New. All right. So we're going to fill in a few fields here. We're going to set up, in this scenario, standard shipping, where if their order is less than $100, they're going to pay for shipping. If it's more than $100, they get free shipping. So all right, just paste in the name there. So we're going to call it standard under 100. That's our internal name. And we're going to choose a method, which is, we're just going to choose regular post. I will explain methods further a little bit later on. But with methods, you can use them to create a whole different range of shipping rates. And you don't have to use the ones in this list. It's a pick list. You can add whatever ones you want and call them whatever you want. So we're going to add a display name for this shipping rate. We don't want the customer to see standard under 100. So we're going to call this just standard shipping. All right. So it's connected to our store that we're using for this demo. And we're going to have to assign a zone for the shipping rate. We've created the North America shipping zone, so we're going to use that. And we're going to say any order under $100, you need to pay $10 for shipping. We're going to tell it that shipping rate is calculated based on price. And the amount for any order for this shipping rate to apply is 0. And the maximum, because it's under 100, is going to be 99.99. We press save. All right, so we have our first shipping rate. We're going to create another one now for over 100. Any orders that are over $100 or above. So rather than doing all of that again, I'm just going to clone this one. So if you click on the top right corner, there's a drop down, press clone. All right. So we're going to call this one standard 100 plus. Everything else stays the same. We're going to continue standard shipping, but it's going to be for free. And instead of the range between 0 and 99.99, we're going to have it from 100 and above. We don't need to fill out the maximum field because there's no limit. And we press save. And I get an error. You must select up. There you go. Using the wrong field. All right. So 100 or above. Press save. Good. So we now have in our store 2 shipping rates, standard under 100 and standard 100 plus. So in order to get a product to be allowed to use a shipping rate, you also need to tell that product that it can use the shipping rate. The reason why that is because it allows you the flexibility to be able to dictate what products can be shipped in what method. So, for example, you might have a scenario where a product is too bulky to be shipped or too heavy or is a dangerous good. So you wouldn't want it to be shipped via air. So you wouldn't offer, say, an overnight air freight for, an explosive device, for example, if you were to sell such a thing. So let's have a look at one of our products that we're going to be testing this with, an emerald green cotton necktie. This is the product record. If I was to press edit and scroll down to where the shipping information is, you'll see there's a shipping methods multi-select pick list, which has the same values as what we saw in the shipping rate record under method. And if you remember, we used regular post as the method. So I'll add regular post as an acceptable shipping rate for this type of product. And you'll notice there's also a pick up in store already in there. Pick up in store is for click and collect, and I'll show you that in a minute. So if I press save, this product is now able to be shipped via our shipping rate that we just created. So if I go now into our store and we have the emerald green cotton necktie, which I've just configured, just add that to cart, go through the checkout. All right, because I'm logged in, it already knows where I live almost. Just added the state, press continue. And you'll notice I picked Canada as a country because that's where our shipping rate applies to. So I come through this step and it's offered me click and collect only. It's gone straight to click and collect. And the reason that is because the configuration for the shipping rate and telling the system that this tie can be shipped via the regular post shipping rates hasn't synced through yet. So there can be a slight delay. So that delay can be 1 to 3 minutes. And the good news is that we have something coming out very soon where this will be like an instantaneous change. So you won't have to wait. But for now, let me just check to see if that has synced through. All right. So it's not offering any shipping method, any shipping option for the tie as yet. So while we wait for that to sync, I'm just going to show you this click and collect. So you'll see how it's got StoreConnect Superstore. That's the stock location and the address. And then there's this menswear department. So let me show you how that's all configured. So we have a look at our necktie. We've got a stock location called StoreConnect Superstore, and you see the address there. So that's where the information comes from. Now, this stock location is configured for click and collect because we've said here shipping with click and collect. There are other options where you can say do not fulfill online orders at all, or it's only to be shipped from this location, or it's only click and collect from this location. For this one, we're going to ship and offer click and collect. So how do we configure the actual collection point? In the related list, we have collection points. So each store can have multiple collection points. Each stock location could also have different collection points based on which store it's servicing, or you could just have multiple collection points, Bay A, B, C, etc. So this is the webinar demo store, this one here. And you'll see that it's got a display name, menswear department, and a little message that the customer sees. And it's also set up that it indicates that it could be a day for us to put your order aside and have it ready for you to collect. So let's go back to the store, and that's the data there. So let's have a look, and I'll just refresh and see if that shipping rate has come through. There you go. So you can now see that with this green tie in the cart, we have the option to ship via standard shipping for $10. So I'll just complete a checkout to show you that. I'm not going to enter credit card details. I've just set up a pay later payment option. Complete purchase. And good. So that order will now sync through to Salesforce. All right. So I've shown you how you can configure shipping based on cart price. So I want to show you now how you would do it based on cart weight. It's very much the same. So what we're going to do is recycle some of these shipping rates that I've created. I'll find those. All right. So the standard under 100, let's rename that to standard under 5 kilogram. All right, we're going to charge, for this one, we're going to charge $5. And instead of calculated by price, it's going to be calculated by weight. And because of that, we're going to use the weight fields instead of the price fields. Minimum weight, 0 kilograms. Maximum weight is going to be 4.99 kilograms. We'll press save. All right. We're going to do the same for the next shipping rate. We're going to have a rate for 5 kilograms and above. Everything remains the same, but this time we're going to charge extra because it's heavier. Set it for weight. And we're going to set the minimum as 5 and no maximum. All right. Just forgot to update this, so I'm just telling you that we're going to use kilograms as our unit of measurement. All right. So we've now configured or reconfigured our shipping rates to calculate based on the cart weight. All right. So let's test this out. So we'll go back to the store. We're going to buy our green tie. Go through checkout. So we're shipping to Canada. All right, so it hasn't synced through, it's still showing $10. Again, we might have to wait a minute or two. So while we wait, let's have a look at the order through the Salesforce earlier. See if that's come through. So we'll just do a refresh. All right, so look at that order. All right, so this is my order for a single green necktie. You'll see that the order products, there's two. There's the necktie, and then there's the shipping. So we add a shipping order item because it allows us to also add the price of the shipping to the order. So when you're having a look at the order details, you see that the order amount is $55, which is $45 for the tie and $10 for the shipping. I'll also point out that the shipping method selected at checkout, which is a text field, contains the shipping method that the customer selected. Now, they didn't have much choice. Standard shipping, it was either standard shipping or click and collect. If they'd asked for click and collect, it would have shown that here. But it allows you to customize your flow from this point on. So if you wanted to treat orders that were click and collect differently to, say, a standard shipping order or differently to an express order, you could automate that to some degree based on this data and knowing that that was a standard shipping rate order. So let's have a look at what else we have. You'll notice in the order related list, the shipment object. Now, a shipment record is created for every order in StoreConnect where we are going to be shipping. So we selected standard shipping or click and collect, doesn't matter. A shipping record is created. Now, the shipping record effectively has all the items in it. Let's have a look at this related list. All the items in it that are going to be shipped. So if we had a number of items on our order, this list would contain a number of items. But if we wanted to, say, ship part of the order now and part of the order later, as in, say, some items were on back order, we could simply create a second shipment record and move some of the items that were going to be shipped later from the original shipment into the later shipment. And you can then also set up separate tracking for each shipment. And so your customers can be kept up to date with your own internal messaging and however you want to do it, whether it be text or sending out transactional emails. You could do that based on each shipment record. So let's go back to our store and see if this is updated. I'm just going to refresh the page. All right. So you now see that with one tie in the basket or in the cart, we have the option for standard shipping for $5, which is correct. Now, I want to show you how I've configured the weight. This is important. So let's have a look at our emerald green cotton tie. Here we go. You'll notice under the shipping section, I've set a shipping weight of 1 kilogram. It's a very heavy tie. Normally a tie wouldn't weigh that much, but for the demonstration, 1 kilogram just seems like an easier one to show. So 1 kilogram is the weight of each tie. Now, if I go to the store and I change in my cart, I want to buy 7 tires, 1 for each day of the week. So that's going to weigh 7 kilograms. So go through the checkout process and you'll see that no longer are we offered standard shipping for $5. It's now going to cost us $20, which is what we configured. So that's how you would configure shipping based on cart weight. So what I want to show you now is a slight variation to this. So let's go back to shipping for 5 kilograms and above. Now, we have this option here, cost per additional unit and quantity of each additional unit. What this is it allows us to charge extra for extra weight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to $10 base charge. So every order will get charged $10, and then you'll get charged an extra $1 for every 1 kilogram. I'll press save. So we could do this another way, just to highlight how this actually works. So currently we're charging $10 plus $1 for every kilogram. Or we could say charge $2 for every kilogram. Or we could charge $2 for every 3 kilograms. So depending on how you need to configure this is what values you put in here. And you may get from a shipping supplier like a matrix of prices, and you can then set this up to basically achieve what they charge, and so you can pass those costs on to the customers quite accurately and effectively. All right, so I'm going to save that. I'm going to keep it at $1 for 1 kilo. Let's go back to our store. I'm going to start a fresh order. I'll empty my cart. Hopefully by the time I've completed this order, changes will sync through. All right, so we're going to buy an emerald green cotton necktie. Let's just buy the one. All right, so back to the $5 shipping, which is the first shipping rate. Now, if we wanted to change our quantity again to 7, what we're expecting to see is not the $20, unless it hasn't synced. Let's see. All right, good. So instead of the $20 that we were being charged earlier, we're now getting charged $10 plus $1 per kilo, which is the equivalent of $1 per tie. Heavy ties. All right. So basically now what we've done is we've configured shipping based on cart price. We've configured shipping based on cart weight, and we've configured shipping based on a base price plus paying extra per kilogram. All right. So what I want to show you now is how you can set up different shipping options for the customer to select. So at the moment, we've just kind of had, hey, if you want it shipped, it's standard shipping. But what if you wanted to offer express post? So they pay a little bit extra, but it comes a lot quicker. So let's configure that. So we're going to recycle our shipping rates again. We're going to have in fact, we're going to reuse, we're going to keep these ones. We're going to have the 5 kilogram or under 5 kilograms and the above 5 kilograms. I'm just going to make this back to how we had it before. And we're going to say that's $15 for 5 kilograms and above. All right, and then we're going to just clone these to create our express shipping. All right, so we're going to call this express under 5 kilograms, and we'll call it for the customer to see express shipping. And I'm going to add a little instruction here that they're going to see, which says 2 to 3 days. We have to select a different method. So the reason for that is because the regular post, let me explain like this. If we set up express shipping using regular post and it was more expensive, the system will go, well, why would the customer want you to pay more for the same? So it would only show the standard shipping. So we want to go, okay, we're going to offer different, this is different, it's a different shipping method. So we want to offer both. So we're going to select express shipping again. You can create and add as many of them as you want and call them whatever you want. So the method is express shipping. The cost for express shipping for under 5 kilograms should be a lot more. Let's call it $25. And we will press save. All right. So let's clone the 5 kilogram plus one and make an express version for that. Call it express 5 kilograms plus and express shipping for the customer to see. We're going to have express shipping as the method, and it's also 2 to 3 days. That's what I did before. But this one's going to cost a lot more. It's going to be, let's call it $45. Press save. All right. So what you'd expect if you were completing checkout now is instead of seeing standard shipping for, I think it was $15 that we set it up for this time, you would expect to see standard shipping and express shipping. The problem is our green tie here, hasn't been told that it's allowed to be shipped via express shipping. So we're going to have to do that. So we go into Salesforce, we find our green tie, press edit on the product. We'll scroll down to shipping methods and you'll see express shipping here. Move that across, press save. All right. So now, if I was to refresh this, let's see what happens. All right, so it hasn't synced through yet, but you will see that the $15 change has come through. So we'll just give it another try. All right, so it might take a minute. So while we're waiting for that, let's complete a click and collect order. I want to show you the difference between standard order and click and collect. All right, so this comes through. Let's go and find that in Salesforce. So that'll come through in a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes. It shouldn't take long. All right. While we're waiting for that, let's go back to our demonstration on the shipping, and I will show you express shipping. All right, so let's buy the green tie. Click the checkout. Shipping to Canada. All right, so now you see the standard shipping option, $5, express shipping, 2 to 3 days for $25. And let's just test out 5 kilograms and above. Again, one tie for each day of the week. All right, so you'll see $45 for a heavier order. And that's what we were expecting. Let's see if that order's come through to Salesforce. All right. So it says payment syncing, but we can still see the order. All right. You'll notice here that the shipping method selected at checkout is now click and collect menswear department. So we can use that in our own internal processes to determine, hey, this is a click and collect, and where does it need to be kept and held for the customer to collect. And it also has a link to the collection point, which is a lookup. All right, good. So hopefully that made sense in regards to how we configured multiple shipping rates to be offered to a customer. You don't have to just have the two. You can have as many as you want. You could set up an international shipping or a next day delivery or guaranteed next day or city to city delivery. An example of a city to city delivery would require a different shipping zone. You'd have to set it up for Sydney, for example. If you're going to set up the zone for Sydney, you might have like postcode 2000 and a bunch of other postcodes in that area. And you would, when we set up our zone, we didn't add any postcodes to our North America shipping, but you could literally create a shipping zone with just postcodes. I think I have seen it before where Australia we've had shipping zones for every postcode of Australia. It's a different price for almost, well, not every postcode, but different ranges of postcodes. And I think there was about 10,000 postcodes that made up Australia. So you could definitely configure zones that way. All right. But what I want to show you now is how you can, let's say, exclude products from certain shipping rates. So I've kind of touched on it already, but I want to just give you an example of how this would work. So let's have a look at this red tie. Just say there was something about red ties that the express shipping is done by air freight, for example. And there's something about red ties that air freighters don't like. They consider that maybe that because they're red, they're dangerous, and so we don't want to ship them by air. So the way that you would exclude a red tie from being able to be shipped via express is simply by excluding express shipping from the shipping method. So in this example, a red tie can be picked up in store by like a click and collect service, or shipped via the regular post, which is our standard shipping rate that we configured earlier. So express post is not, or express shipping is not an option for a red tie. So let's see what happens when you add a red tie to our order. All right, so let's buy that. Then we'll go to checkout. Good. So you see that because there's a red tie, express shipping is not an option. If we were to remove the red tie, express shipping is now an option again. All right. So you can see how you can restrict shipping rates based on what product is in the cart. And another example might be, say, the blue tie with stripes. Say there is no shipping methods or shipping options available for this. The only way that a customer can get a blue tie with a pink stripe is if they come into the store and pick it up themselves. So shipping methods available for the blue tie with a pink stripe is only pick up in store. So if we were to come in here and buy a blue tie with pink stripes, and let's say we're not going to buy the green tie today, go through checkout. You see it just goes straight to click and collect. We wanted shipping, it says, no, you can't, we can't deliver that. says there's no shipping options available, try click and collect. And so you'd have to buy it this way. So that's a couple of examples of how you can exclude products from shipping options. All right, I have one more thing that I'd like to show you guys, and that's how to configure shipping rate, not by weight or price, but by price and weight. Now, the reason why you might want to do this may be because you have a scenario where you only want to charge a certain rate for an order that's over a certain weight range, but only if they're spending such and such amount of money. So you might set it up like something like $500 is the minimum, and anything over 20 kilos, this is the rate that applies, and you obviously have whatever rate you want to use. So in this scenario, it gives you a bit more flexibility. So rather than just being fixed to price or fixed by weight, you're able to set up different shipping rates based on either or both. So I just want to make sure you were aware that that is an option. All right, and so I've pretty much covered what I wanted to cover. We have one question, and it's around shipping integrations, which is a good question. We haven't covered shipping integrations in this webinar, but there is an option to integrate with Australia Post. Let me show you that. So we have shipping providers, currently Australia Post and Star Trek, which is pretty much the same company. We have an API connection, and if you had an account with these companies, you can set it up. So rather than creating custom shipping rates like what we've been doing, the system goes to Australia Post and says, hey, how much would this cost? And brings back an answer. So that's the only integration we have at the moment. If you had other requirements for integrations, let us know. We can definitely discuss options. There is another app that I'll mention here, though. It's not an integration, however. There's an app on the App Exchange called Bring. Now, Bring allows you to connect to 80 plus providers, shipping providers around the globe. And what you can do with Bring, the StoreConnect, is from your order, you can then go to Bring and say, hey, we've got this order, we need to ship it. And it will connect directly to the provider of your choice and create a job on their end. They'll come and pick up the parcel and ship it for you. And they'll also let you know how much it's going to cost you, etc. So that's not an integration as such, but it's just another third-party app that works well with StoreConnect. All right. I haven't got any other questions, but if you guys are watching this webinar on our YouTube channel down the track and you have questions, just shoot them through to support@getstoreconnect.com. And I'll hand back to Virginia.
Thanks, Todd, for that. And thanks to everyone who attended today. I hope that was some useful content on shipping and zones. I'll be sending this link out to everyone who watched so you can review it. And it's also available on our YouTube channel within a day. If you have any specific questions, please send them through, as Todd said, to support@getstoreconnect.com. And if you would like us to cover any topics, drop us a line and we'll be happy to cover those off in future webinars. I would also encourage everyone to get started on our certification program. If you visit our website, our documentation website at help.getstoreconnect.com and type in certification into the search there, you'll find that. And it's a fantastic platform. There's lots to learn, and those certification programs takes you through each of the touch points of setting up a store so that you are fully familiar with it. So we encourage everyone to do that. And that's it from us for today. Thanks for attending and have a great rest of your day.